Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of the ShopNotes Podcast. This is a special one, episode number 200. We didn't really think we'd even get to 20. And yet here we are, episode 200. We're going to do some viewer and listener comments and the usual update on what's been going on around here and some new events that are happening in the realm of woodsmith and popular woodworking. Special word from our sponsor. You want a glue that you can trust, and fortunately, Titebond has the glue you need to get the job done with confidence. From interior glues with strong initial tack and short clamp time to exterior glues with exceptional strength and water resistance. Look to Titebond, the right glue for your next project. For more information, visit titebond.com. There you go.
We could spend this episode just going over some of our greatest podcasts, but it would probably be too short then.
Might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off the way we usually do with some listener comments from the last episode. That was Logan and I on that one.
Mm-hmm. Who did we
John
piss off that time?
I was on a self-imposed suspension with pay.
Yeah. Carl Gustafson writes, he says, the computer analogy for Shopsmith. Shopsmith is like a Windows program. It does everything, but none of it really well. And then only for the most common things. Picking individual tools is like Linux. You need to figure out exactly what you want and how to get it. But when you're done, your tools do exactly what you want and do it well. So there you have it. I managed to hate on two completely different things.
So what about the Mac users?
By the way, congratulations on your upcoming 200th. Right. So now we're just going to wait till next issue or next episode for the Mac analogy.
Yeah. I think the Mac users are the Festool users. They spend a lot of money and they're really smug about it.
I'm not going to argue that sitting here on a Mac with some Festool stuff in it.
Yeah. See?
Not going to argue with it.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Puppy Doc says, Logan, I had spent far too much time in Texas when I was in the military, almost all of it in the San Antonio area. I agree, too hot and humid. Having said that, during the winter months, it's not too bad, and there are some great things to see and do. Austin is a great place to visit. I don't know if they still do it, but years ago, once or twice a week, they would shut down one of the main roads with most of the bars downtown and have this giant party. It was tons of fun, lots of live music, and people watching.
There was, I will say, Bob, there was a lot of one of the breweries that I'm actually wearing my Austin School of Furniture T-shirt right now. One of the breweries that Austin and I had dinner at, they had live music. There's a lot of live music down there, which is kind of fun.
Right. Cool. Michael Ford said, Phil, that coffee mug is such a great size, hard to find here in Australia. And I was at my home shop last week. So I had my Woodsmith mug from that like hourglass kind of shaped one. The place used to be at the fair every year. It's from like northwest of here. Where's that place? The Woodsmith store had mugs from there.
The only place I know is the place up in Minnesota that hand makes them with the badges on them.
No, it was a place in Iowa here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig it up. I don't have that. Like I said, I don't have that mug with me. So, but I will say, like I said, they're at the fair. Come visit.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a perfect time to come from Australia to be at the fair. Just saying.
Yeah. It'd be their winter time, right? So
yes.
Summer in Iowa.
Yeah,
right.
Say August in Iowa. That's when you want to come here.
Mm-hmm. 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 And then Jim Carroll writes, you have recently poo-pooed the idea of the Shopsmith Machinery. Have you seen the video the Shop Nation put up about his visit to this American icon? It may be on its knees, but they are trying to get it back up and running for all those with limited space but want the machines. Yes, there is a compromise, but for some, it will fill the need. And I do have a link to that video. I'll put that in the show notes page for this episode. So there you go. And to be clear, once again, we are equal opportunity
haters.
Yes. We will give a snarky comment for everybody. It's part of our thing.
Yep.
So 200 episodes. It's kind of hard to think about all the things that have changed in that time because we started doing them in person on the set right over here, and then did some in our offices.
Yep.
When we had the office across the street. And,
that was a good time.
Mm-hmm. And then COVID, and we did them all from home, and now here we are, spread out again, sort of.
I'm just excited for that 200th episode bonus check.
Yeah.
Right.
Finally.
God.
I've been waiting for that. I already started digging the in-ground pool.
Yeah.
It's getting filled up today, I'll tell you what.
And we can do we'll be able to like syndicate the show now that we have 200 episodes. Can put them on reruns on Nick at Night or something.
Yeah. I don't know that Nick at Night's a right on. Well, it might be a right audience now.
Or the Retro TV channel. What was that one?
I always get enjoyment walking through an antique store or a flea market and finding boxes of Woodsmith magazine. Like, oh, it's an antique now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's the right demographic.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, the antique malls are really fun. There's a couple of them around here. My only problem is that I end up seeing toys from my childhood, and then I kind of have larger concerns. A, because it would be fun to get a couple of them. B, but it's like, it's in an antique mall. Like, it's not that old. Like first generation Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
They're classics. Mm-hmm. All right. So Logan, you got any traveling coming up?
Thank God, no. I am so sick of being on the road. Like, I am so sick of being on the road. In the last month, I've been to New York, Michigan, Ohio, Texas, and Las Vegas. And I am ready to just bum it in my shop with my shop flip-flops and actually get some caught up on some projects in here. Finishing some projects and doing others. So,
all right.
Yeah. Nope. This last trip to Las Vegas was I have one more trip to, and maybe two more trips. One to the IWF show in Atlanta, because visiting Atlanta in August is when you want to visit Atlanta.
Yeah.
And there may be one more trip that we may take to Ohio, but that would be like a sales trip. So,
okay.
Both those will be fairly short. And I am bringing no camera gear, which makes it way easier to travel.
Right.
So.
Then there's also a rumor about a trip to Grizzly in Missouri, right? At some point?
Maybe? Yes, at some point, maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see on that.
Okay.
So they may host an event down there that we may attend, but we'll see. That has not been announced yet, so we'll see.
Okay. Do you, speaking of shop projects then, when you've been on the road, are you just like daydreaming about stuff that you need to be doing in your shop?
Yeah.
Or putting
It's
together
not daydreaming,
a list?
it's stressing. It's like heartburn anxiety about what I need to do in the shop.
Nightmaring.
Yes.
Day nightmare.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, oh man, I should be working on this at home right now instead of like standing here taking pictures. Because to be honest, like most of the time when I'm on a photo shoot, there's a lot of like, I'm standing there with a camera in my hand. Like on a standard photo shoot, I take 1,000 photos. Like I take 1,000 photos that I then have to go through and edit. But you can take 1,000 photos really quickly. So there's a lot of times where I'm like just kind of walking around, moving lights, resetting up. Like there's not a lot of like active time. I mean, that's not the right way to describe it. I have a lot of time to think. And it's like, I could be doing this right now, but a lot of times the internet's not great there. And I don't want to be like halfway typing emails and sending them out without really reading them. And, you know, there's being on site's not super efficient use of my time, but it's how we make our content. So,
Yeah.
What I need is a production assistant that'll go with me and they can move everything. Then I can actually work there, but that's never going to happen.
Right. So it's like, it just feels like whenever you're out doing something, it's just a long series of transitional time.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. That's the best way to describe it. Yep. It's a lot of like photo is shot, moving lights, waiting for a photo to be ready. Photo is shot, moving lights, waiting for a photo to be ready. You know, so.
Yeah. Cause that kind of comes through when we're exchanging messages on Teams about different things, because you can tell that you're in the middle of something else because there's like no punctuation.
Oh yeah.
Spelling is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Incomplete sentences. It's like
swiping from my phone.
Right. It's like Logan's either having a stroke or he's on a photo shoot.
Probably both. So, and to be very clear, I love the people I shoot with. Like,
right.
There is not anybody that I go and do photos with that I do not enjoy. Like I enjoy it. That's why I do it. But yeah, it's, I need like 3 days of decompression when I get home from a photo shoot.
Right.
So, yep. But nope, I'm home. I'm here. We are now working on actual work. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So when the projects that you're going to be working on in your shop, are you going to be working on them like punch list? They're going to hit this one, then this one, then this one, or are you just working through? And what do you have there?
I have too much ADHD to do that. It's like at some point there'll be a culmination where everything gets finished at the same time. And that's like, wow. No, I think there are definitely needs. So, you know, this Smatter Saw station, it's half built. That needs finished. So that one will be the first one I get finished up. My office is now drywalled, painted, electrical's done. So like there's work things I need to do, like the Meyer Saw station. That's for a magazine issue. I want to do an outfeed table for magazine issue. So like those are like issue based things, like work things. And then like in like my personal space or personal time, it's like, you know, the office needs done. There's trim that needs done. Like there's all that type of crap. So I don't know. I get more enjoyment from doing like the work type stuff, because I hate like the little like gotta go get the ladder to slap 3 pieces of trim up on the ceiling. Like that sucks. That's stupid.
Right.
I don't like doing that.
It's also 70 degrees warmer up there too.
You aren't kidding. So, but yeah, so Miter Saw station first, that needs to get finished up. I had actually, when I was penciling out my schedule, while I was waiting on a delayed plane in Las Vegas, I was like, all right, today's Friday, was going to be my day to paint the Miter Saw station, because it needs to get painted before it can get attached to the wall. And then I'll start filling out the drawers and stuff. I'm not painting outside today. It's raining. So it's like that has to get painted. Got to get some countertops done for it. Got to get the drawers finished up. I actually kind of surprised myself. I unburied the one miter saw, the one cabinet, and I have all the drawers done for that side. So I only have to make 2, 4, 6 more drawers. So it's not too bad. Yeah. So
then you said your office just needs flooring for the most part, right?
Yeah. It for the most part just needs flooring and like window trim and stuff. So things are happening. It just is not as fast as I want.
Right. Window trim. So you got to resaw like 800 more linear miles of alder.
All the window trim in my office is going to be white oak, and it's all 3/4 inch. I'm not resawing a thing in there. What's worse is I'm going to have to tongue and groove a bunch of flooring, which is stupid. But yeah, it is interesting though, because it feels like, and people that are listening probably feel this way too. It feels like this is freaking went on forever. Like the whole shop thing has went on forever. But a year ago, we had just finished the flooring in here.
Oh, okay.
Which seems like I've came really far in a year. But it also seems like a real long ways to go still.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. It was
just a little over a year ago. Yeah.
It seems like when you have big projects like that, you go like halfway each time. So like you make big progress at first, and then it's like you get to the end and it's like just going a little halfway, and you like feels like you're never going to get there because you're only going halfway each time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it just carries on and on.
Yep. So the bigger issue is that now that I have so many tools in here and stuff, like getting a ladder up against the wall to like put up some trim gets a lot harder because it's like, oh, there's 3 lathes in the way.
Yeah.
So
and it's not like it's just a shop cart or something.
No.
It's a 300-pound, 80-year-old.
Yep. Something.
Yeah.
So, but we're getting there. I will say, and I think we've talked about this before. One of the last things that was hold up in here was getting a mini split installed for video, and got that done. And so that's kind of why it's like that was the starting gun to get the office wrapped up, because I needed to access the pipes in the ceiling and stuff. These little freaking Mr. Cool mini splits are amazing. Like,
oh yeah,
I came in here this morning. I've had it set at, I don't know, I'm doing something wrong because I had it set at 74 and I came in here and it was 66 degrees in here, and that was only one of them running. So I don't know. They were great though. I was a little concerned, like, okay, during the winter, if I didn't have the heat cranked, it was cold in here. So I'm like, okay, during the summer, I'm going to have the air cranked to keep it reasonable in here. And that does not seem to be the case. It seems to be that these things pump out cold air. Yeah. So
maybe all the heat's going to the ceiling in the winter, going up.
Oh, I guarantee that's what it is, because I did install one ceiling fan in here. I think we mentioned that. And that helped a lot to de-stratify the area in here. So I may be getting one more big fan in here to help push the air down. So.
Okay. Special word from our sponsor. You want a glue that you can trust, and fortunately, Titebond has the glue you need to get the job done with confidence. From interior glues with strong initial tack and short clamp time to exterior glues with exceptional strength and water resistance. Look to Titebond, the right glue for your next project. For more information, visit Titebond.com. All right, so we'll have to start some kind of a raffle or something to find out, like, what episode number will it be when Logan podcasts from the office? Who knows?
Boy, yeah, 215.
215. Okay, I was saying I was thinking 210 in my head. So
yeah, I mean that's like 15 weeks from now.
Right.
That's no, it'll be way before that. Jeez, I could walk in there right now and podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
Because you have a workbench build coming up too, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, but here's the thing: is I don't have a freestanding desk to go in my office either. So it's like there may be a desk build in the magazine before then too, which is funny because we have one in this issue. We have Willie Sanders he did a like craftsman style banker's desk.
Okay.
Kind of a mission style. So I was thinking, maybe we'll do like a shaker desk that will be put in the like shop projects folder and go somewhere next year where we can space out desk projects. But yeah, yep. Cardboard table for now. Card table.
Card table.
Not cardboard. That would be awful. That'd be awful. Card table.
So that'll be the theme for 2025 for projects in popular woodworking. Logan needs a
desk, coffee table, prairie style sofa.
Speaking of arts and crafts style, one of the things that we've been doing in the video studio is some finishing videos on some of the projects that we've done for the TV show. That's one of the things that's challenging to do when you're building a project for TV is to not only get the project built, but finish, because finish is one of those things where you can spend 10 minutes of activity time on, but then you need like 24 hours of drying time before you can move on to the next stuff. So what we've been doing is completing the project build on the show and then doing the finishing as a video that we can have on our YouTube channel. One of those was arts and crafts bookcase that Willie Sandry did for Popular Woodworking. Mm-hmm. Glass door bookcase, and then we built it on the show, and then you did the finish on it. Can you describe that finishing process then?
Yeah, so basically we finished it using Willie's same procedure that he did in the article. Traditional arts and crafts furniture a lot of times was ammonia fumed, which Willie does a lot of that as well. And initially that's what I had planned on doing on that, but then I'm like, yeah. That was just kind of my overall thoughts on it. And I've done I've done ammonia fuming on little turnings, mm-hmm. like little white oak turnings. It's super easy on little stuff because you just put it in a 2-gallon Ziploc bag with a little dish of ammonia. It's fantastic. But so Willie's process for that one, and this follows. There's several people that do arts and crafts furniture, and they all have this same or similar style of finishing based on what type of arts and crafts furniture you are trying to reproduce, because every arts and crafts manufacturer had their own finishing process. So there's like different formulas for if you're trying to do like a stickly piece or do it, whatever you're doing. So the one we did was we did a medium mission brown trans tint dye, 1.5 ounces dissolved in a quart of non-grain raising solvent, which would be 50-50 lacquer thinner and denatured alcohol. Okay. So half a quart of denatured alcohol, half a quart of lacquer thinner with 1.5 ounces of medium mission brown trans tint dye. Okay. That was applied with a stain sponge. Is that stain pad? Yeah, it's like a knit pad over a sponge, which actually worked really, really nicely. The stain application pad is what it's called. It actually went on really, really nicely with that. I've never actually used one because I don't stain stuff usually. And I was very, very happy with how that went on. The thing with that dye is you do have to be careful because the solvents flash off so quickly that you can get streaks. You can get streaks really badly. Yeah. So you got to pay attention to it and kind of wipe over areas once And then if you get a streak, you kind of have to feather them and blend them in. And that went on really, really nice. Then once that was dried, it gets a light coat of spray shellac. You can't brush the shellac on because you will drag that dye. So the spray shellac basically locks that color down and acts as a barrier between the dye and whatever the next coat is, which in this case happened to be a gel stain. Willie used a General Finishes dark walnut gel stain. We used a Old Masters dark walnut gel stain, and you basically go over the shellac with that. And the shellac also acts as a sealer to keep that white oak from soaking up this stain. It pushes it down into the grain. So basically what you're doing is you are filling the grain with that dark walnut, and it's getting stuck in the little nooks and crannies, and it gives it like this instant antique look.
Right.
And then spray lacquer over top. It was fairly labor intensive. Was it as nice of a finish as I could have done if I would have taken my time in my shop? No. I think it looks good still, though. It pops really nicely on the white oak medullary ray flex. Looks like it's an antique. It definitely has an antique look to it. And the one kind of cool thing, and this is me saying the half-assing's okay, is if there are areas where there's a little bit of tear out or chips, that dark walnut stain just makes it look antique immediately. It's like, oh, some kid 60 years ago, baby Phil ran his little toy truck into it and left a ding in it. So you don't have to be like super polished with your sanding, which is kind of nice.
Right.
But I was super happy with how it turned out. I have in my wish list in my head, I have a couple of mission style lamps I want to build, like desk lamps.
Okay.
Stained glass and stuff. Maybe not stained glass, but colored glass for the shades and stuff. And I would like to, I think, follow that same finishing schedule on those because it turned out really nicely, and I like the look of it.
Yeah. And you're right. It is labor intensive, but I feel like there's a wider range of tone of color that you get because of it.
Yes.
Because that was brought up by our camera crew. Is like, why not just do the dye and then put the stain over the top of it? Because then it's muddy. So you don't really you just end up with just one kind of gross color. Whereas here you have the layers, I guess for lack of a better word, is because of that, the light kind of shines through each of the layers differently.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, finishing. So I have two thoughts on finishing. Like, first of all, I think people overcomplicate, like in their heads, they overcomplicate it a lot. So it can be very overcomplicated, but I'm also going to say finishing can be an art form. If you are trying to get a really, really nice finish, like a high-end finish, it can be an art form, right. Which is probably why people overcomplicate it in their heads. You have to be thorough with it on how you're applying it and what you're doing and what finish you're using. But once you get the formula down, it's easy. You just have to get the formula down. And I think during the video, all this is to say, I was doing the finishing of that thing on a video, so it was kind of a rush to get it done. So I actually did the entire finish in one day, which if I was here, I probably would have done it over 3 days. But in the video, I think I said, finishing's like a cooking recipe. Like if you follow the same steps every time in the same order, assuming you're using the same species of wood, you'll get pretty much the same results every time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And your point about the tear out on there, because that was an oak tree that you sawed.
Mm-hmm.
And was that the pin oak one, or is that
No, that's a bur oak.
Bur oak, yeah. and it has some
that's actually a white oak. That is a white oak.
Okay. But it had some pretty crazy grain patterns in different parts of it. So it was, I mean, even flush trimming it with a spiral router bit was causing tear out, which is unusual.
Yep.
So it would have challenged anybody. But being a special oak tree for you makes it a nicer project. Yeah.
Yeah, we kept referring to it as the grandpa cabinet because it was my grandpa's oak tree. So no, and it looks great. That will be my bookcase. I'm going to offer up to my grandpa if he wants it. I don't think he'll want it because he's at the point where who knows how long he'll be in his house. But that will probably be my bookcase in my office here. So,
nice.
Yeah. So
that'll be cool.
I was very happy with how it turned out. Yeah. And it's a nice size because it's like, it's not a ginormous bookcase. It's like this weird, like 2/3 size bookcase.
Right. And I think when we were looking at projects for this season, bookcases are obviously very popular projects, being kind of a storage and display kind of piece, that it feels difficult to find something that looks good, but then isn't just a wall swallowing piece of furniture either.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And this was actually, so this bookcase, when I was with Willie, it's probably been 2 years now. When I was out at his place shooting some projects, he was asking what types of projects I wanted. And I said, we were walking through his house, and his house is full of antiques, either stuff he's built based on originals, or him and his wife go hunting for like old Craftsman and Mission style, stickly furniture, and he'll fix it up and flip it and sell it for good money. And I said, hey, I really like, he had, I don't know if it was an original one of those in there or if it was one that he had built, but he had one of these cabinets in there.
Yeah.
Or something along the similar size, which I was like, that's a really nice size. It's a cabinet. You could use it as a bookcase. You could use it as like a curio type cabinet.
Sure.
To display stuff. I was like, it's nice looking. So
yeah. Because you could put, especially now with the LED strip lights.
Oh yeah.
And glass shelves in there, you could make it a really sweet display cabinet. Because we were looking at that bookcase, and then there was a similar styled one that Nancy Hiller had done.
Yes.
But it was a 2-door, basically almost like a double wide version of the same format.
Yes, it was. Yep. Yeah, and I think that one had like dental trim on it, if I remember right, or something.
Yeah, there were some other details that were a little different, but
yeah. So let me ask you guys this. Because inherently, like, I like the idea of being able to put like strip lights in there or something to light up. I don't like dustables, stuff like that, but like I like that idea. If you had a collection to display or something, if a piece of furniture has a cord, that's not a lamp. Okay, not a lamp. If a piece of furniture has a cord, does it diminish the piece of furniture? Because in my mind, inherently, it's a cheaper piece of furniture if it has a cord, and they shouldn't, but it does, and I don't know why.
I don't know.
Maybe it's because my grandma and grandpa had like, they probably had 8 curio cabinets in their house with dustables in them. Like, this is where my hatred of dustables comes from, and they were all like from I don't know, Pennies, JC Penney's, dirt cheap, as cheap as you could get, probably Case Merchandise actually, and they had cords out of the back, and they were just cheap cabinets. But I think if you did it well with don't use a plastic cord, use like a high-end woven cord, like the ones Dylan's used for some of those lights, like make it nicer. Maybe it doesn't, but I don't know. To me, it's just like, a piece of shop-made furniture with cords seems weird.
Yeah, that's what I think it's a mindset too. Because when like what you were saying, I think of like the mass-produced cheap furniture from the 1990s that everybody had, and so it just makes you think that it's like, oh yeah, that's cheap or whatever. But yeah, like what you're saying, if it's well done and make a nice cord coming out of it wouldn't be as bad.
One of my issues is how it always feels like, I think what cheapens it is that it feels dated, not in the sense of it being more in the sense that the technology gets replaced so easily. Like, because you can have furniture that had a cord because it has built-in lights from the 80s and 90s, and what are they? They're these big honking tube little mini fluorescent lights or incandescents, and it's just a weird looking shiny brass fixture. Or any kind of furniture that tries to incorporate technology into it feels like it automatically has a shelf life.
Well, and to be very clear, I've done this. So when I built my wife and I's nightstands, or floating nightstands, I routed in and recessed wireless chargers underneath the surface. So there's an area on the top that's only like a 1/16 of an inch thick. And I bought the most powerful wireless chargers I could find. It never actually worked right. But yeah, you're right. It kind of like you immediately put a shelf life on that piece of furniture then.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it's our perception,
right.
But I think you're right.
Yeah, but think of all the woodworking magazines, Woodsmith included, that in the 90s built a wardrobe designed to hold a TV.
Right. Yep.
And it's one thing to have converted an old wardrobe into an entertainment center. It's another to have built it so that the doors open and then slide into little pockets on the side. And it was designed to hold a TV that was 38 inches thick and, has little grommet and vent things on the back because the tube TVs generated 60,000 BTUs, and you had to get your DVD player in there and your VCR player because not all your movies were on DVDs yet. And
well, yeah, it's even with lighting technology, it seems like we've gone from incandescent to halogen to LED to whatever.
Right.
So yeah, that it seems to have dated itself quickly as well. In cabinets.
Yeah, because we did that one display cabinet on the TV show that it was the low one with 2 glass doors, and it had like puck lights, and it was really cool because it was these self-contained puck lights that you could just wire together and then string the cord out the bottom. And now you're like, that looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. Now it's all these little LED strips that you can just stick in there, and
which also look dumb.
Yeah.
but
you can change the color of the lights from your phone.
Right.
Yeah. So if you want your mission style cabinet to be a rave, you can do it. So, no, and to be clear, I don't think it's a bad idea. And if I had a nice collection of stuff, I could see. Most of the turnings I have are pretty big, but I could see building one of those cabinets for some of my nicer turnings from people that I've collected. That's the one. That's the one dustable I do have, is I have a lot of turnings from people. I could see putting them in a cabinet like that and then having lighting in there, because I think it would look nice. And then if I'm in the office working at in the evening or something, I don't have to turn the overhead lights on. There's a little bit of ambient light coming out of that cabinet. That's nice. I have no problem with that.
Right.
I just maybe my issue is with cheap power cords. Stop being cheap. Don't go to Menards and buy a power cord. Order one online. Order a nice woven one that looks good.
Okay.
It's my public service announcement.
Yeah. Definitely having the low profile fixtures makes a big deal. Be thoughtful on where you put those, because a lot of times it's you open up the door and it's banker light right there.
Yep. Recess them in so they're not high, they're not huge, and plan how the cord comes out.
Also true. Yeah.
Don't just grab a 1/2-inch brad point bit and zip a hole in the back.
Yeah. Just try, people. That's all we're asking.
We don't try. We need somebody to try for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to see if I can link to a couple of our display cabinets that we've done in the magazine. Yeah. All right, there you are. That's it for another episode of the ShopNotes Podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody, and for joining us for these 200 episodes. Love to hear your thoughts on dustables, as well as what's going to happen to the projects that you build down the road. Are they going to end up at Goodwill? How much would you buy for them at a rummage sale? You can send us your comments, questions, and smart remarks to woodsmith@woodsmith.com, or leave them as a comment on our YouTube channel. Special thank you to Tight Bond Glue, which are holding together all of those projects that you're going to find down the road somewhere for pennies on the dollar. So thanks for listening, everybody, and here's to another 200. Bye.